Town Square Media Station. WTUG HD2 Northport. And W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 WTUG HD2 Northport. And W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media Station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. I just realized that X said he couldn't hear me, so that means that many of you on the stream, y'all just been out there wondering what's going on in the verse, and we hopefully I got that fixed on my side. So once again, welcome you into the Martin Houston Show. As we kick things off this morning. Get in on the conversation once again at Alabama One Hotline, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That is the Alabama One Hotline. Also chat us up. Let us hear your thoughts, comments, and what's going on there. And so let's keep it rolling. Keep it rolling right here as we're going to talk a little spring ball and see what's happening with Alabama in terms of spring. And you can see that A-Day is tomorrow. So all the hay pretty much is in the barn. And now it's time to check out what the first peep of what will be going on in terms of the 2023 Alabama football team. Nick Saban talking on yesterday, giving a little bit of insight, talking about a couple of the potential freshmen. There's one guy that I think, without a doubt, will make his way onto the field potentially as a starter. in that first group, but we can run down through some of the plays of not plays, but awards that Alabama has. So let's look at that in just a moment. But also, what's your biggest concern if you're Nick Saban, or you can be Saban for the day? And what's your biggest concern when it comes to Alabama spring game? So X, I'll toss it to you and let me know what's kind of on your mind of your biggest concern going into the spring game.
Of course, everybody knows the biggest concern has to be the quarterback position and where things are going to shake out there. But Coach Davis said something very interesting yesterday, talking about the defensive backs. Um, so maybe the defensive back or the cornerbacks to be specific is an issue that he has a little bit of concern with. Very young throughout that core outside of Kool-Aid, especially now that you have Jaquez Robinson, a guy who had 3 years here. He's transferred out. Traquan Fagan's a redshirt freshman. He's transferring out. So a lot of youth and inexperience at that position outside of Kool-Aid and Terrion, who was a part-time starter last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys perform as well as the backups.
Yeah, it was an interesting thought, and I thought Robinson transferring out was interesting because his name had actually um, been part of a couple of different conversations, not as a starter, but as a guy in that rotation, fourth, fifth guy from a cornerback standpoint. Is that a great position to be in? No, not really. Um, but when you're looking at the guys in front of you and they're all young, then you being a third year guy, uh, if you don't think you can get in front of those guys, then chances are you probably may be better off hitting the road. Um, but did you hear Saban's comments about the portal? Uh, Yesterday when he was talking, I thought it was interesting. I had been saying I was going to do a little conversation around the two-edged sword of of the portal. It's a two-edged sword. It cuts both ways. And um, Saban said, in the NFL, guys come in knowing that they're expendable. He said he kind of compares it to free agency, and he said knows that they're expendable from a NFL standpoint. But he said the guys in college. I thought this was pretty telling or strong in terms of a statement from a coach. I hope it doesn't backfire. Like I think last year, I think 2 years ago, I'm sorry, when Saban made the statement X that if we bring a guy in from the portal, we're bringing that guy in because he's better than what we have. And I think that backfired with a guy like Burton last year. I think there was receivers that were better than Burton that didn't get on the field. And I think Alabama was forced to live up to her own words and continue to try to make Burton a number one receiver, which he was not. Uh, but Saban made the following statement. He said, "Hey, we can go into the portal to get guys better than the one we have." He pretty much said the same thing again, just in a different way. That if we can go out and make our team better and replace a guy, then that's what we'll do, and we can do. And I was like, so what do you think? Some of these young guys hearing that, if we go get a guy from the portal, what's the impact on your team?
I mean, when you say it the way that Coach Saban has, you're pretty much saying that if we bring this guy in, he's going to be a starter or a high level contributor without necessarily having to put the work in. Yeah, I think the approach should be, hey, if we're going to add an addition to our team, we're going to try to make our team better. We're going to bring in a guy to compete to fight for a starting position. That sends a different message. That's saying, hey, guys, we have faith in you that are here. But if this guy comes in and outperforms you, he can get that spot. But automatically saying make your team better, uh, better than what we have, that you're telling the guys that you don't have faith in them here. So why would a guy stick around for that if his spot's already taken with this guy just showing up essentially?
Yeah.
Which I think it has, bitten us in the butt with a Jermaine Burton, with a I mean, you can even say that essentially with the Eli Ricks, you had all the hype around him, and then he barely starts and barely plays for you throughout the course of the season. But you've told the other cornerbacks in the room, hey, we think this guy's better than you already, so be prepared to get your spot taken.
Yeah, and that's I mean, if anybody doesn't assume that, then shame on them. In other words, if I was on a football team, um, if it's to step up from recruiting. If you bring in a transfer portal, it's no different than bringing in a junior college guy. It just never was said. Okay, junior college guys have been transfer portal guys all along. Okay, when you go out and recruit a freshman, you're recruiting a freshman because they could build into a player that would help your team. If you sign a junior college player, the expected thing around junior college players, as far back as I can remember, I know when I played, the guy had 2 years of eligibility left. You expected him to come in and play immediately, right? But you never came out and said, "I'm bringing this guy in because um, we have great questions at corner, or we're not good enough at quarterback, or it didn't come across as the same." But it's always been that way. But when you say it out loud, it just seems to hit different. And I think that's where Nick Saban is. But hey, listen, maybe remember we said he's back a couple weeks ago, and maybe he's not sugarcoating it anymore, because the sugarcoating ended up with 19 guys in the portal and like 18 guys in the portal. So what is he going to do? Lose a whole class if he's tough on them? Maybe he's just chosen X to take that approach of, hey, listen, guys, we want you here, but if you want to leave, go ahead. We want the guys who want to be here and understand that we're going to bring in competition, whether it be 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, or transfers from another school. And when we bring them in, we're bringing them in because we're trying to make our team better. And if you're not better than them, they are going to start, which is always the message. You just usually don't say it quite as blunt.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever, before the transfer portal, you know, it's not like Coach Saban never signed JUCO guys before that. It didn't feel it feels different when he talks about transfer guys versus JUCO guys, because you didn't hear him really say those type of things about a Malik Benson, a Justin Jefferson. It was like, hey, these guys are going to have to come in and compete for their playing time, for their opportunity on the field. So I don't see what the difference is when you talk about a JUCO guy versus a guy that transfers from another guy. I don't see the difference, but obviously Coach Saban sees it.
Let me tell you what the difference is. He's recruiting the portal with those words. Okay, he's signing a JUCO player, right? He's gone out, he's went through the whole recruiting process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so the recruiting approach to JUCO players for Saban was really no different than the recruiting for the high school guys, right? But JUCO players, he's telling them, as much as he's saying it to his players, he's saying it to the guy in the portal. Hey, if you come here, you're gonna play. That's what I think. That's why I think it sounds different. And then the other side of the JUCO, and we're not gonna really get into it today because we're gonna flip over and start talking about some of these spring awards and who we think may be the breakout players and all of that on the other side. But I'll go ahead and quickly hit this. The other side of that two-edged sword is not just that players can leave and coaches can recruit, but the hypocrisy of coaches when it comes to the portal X. Because the reality of it is Hugh Freeze is dogging the guys on his team and saying, hey, listen, if you want to leave, then you weren't really the type of player that we wanted anyway that would stay here and compete and fight for a job. Then the other side of his mouth is, hey, listen, we're looking for guys that'll come in ready to compete and play. Well, you know what the coach of the kids who he recruits to come play is saying? He's calling them quitters. The kid that's leaving, from the other school, that coach is referring to them as quitters while he's saying, come here and play. And so it's kind of funny to listen. Like if Burton came in and been great, what would a fan base have said? What does the fan base about Georgia say about Burton, that he quit? What did the fan base say about Williams up in Ohio State? He was a quitter. He didn't stay here and compete. What do we say? What do we say about guys? Oh, they didn't stay here and compete, man. We didn't want them anyway. Well, I tell you, we wanted Drew Sanders to stay. So, any closing thoughts on that? Any closing thoughts on it? It is a two-edged sword, and we'll get into it in the offseason because I have a feeling there's going to be more Alabama guys jump into the portal, but I'm not sure Alabama is going to go to the portal, and even if Alabama has room to go into the portal. So if Alabama wants to get better after tomorrow, they're going to have players leave because they still may be, according to Hank South yesterday, we may still be one over the limit with the 3 guys that's going into the portal already.
Yeah, which will be interesting to see who, if we are just that one over. And I don't even know if that includes the guys that haven't reported yet. Is that 86 number just the guys that are still on the team?
No,
so
that's scholarship. That's the scholarship players. It's all scholarship players, not reported. It's the scholarship players. Those guys are already counted in the number, the ones that signed.
Okay. Well, okay, cool. So that makes it a little, you're not worried about losing that many more guys. But it will be interesting to see what Alabama does because this is normally the time of the year that they really go into the portal. You got C.J. Dupree, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, who transferred in after football season, but most of the time, Henry To'oTo'o, Jameson Williams, guys like that, it's been after the spring. So it's going to be interesting to see if Alabama does make any moves. I preferably would want to just take a year and grow this team with who you have, but it'll be interesting to see what Alabama does.
Yeah, you're listening to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Alabama One on Tide 100.9. The Alabama One hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. We'll be back in just a moment to talk a little bit more about Alabama's 8A game, and we'll look at some of the awards that Alabama gives and who we think may be a good candidate for some of them. That conversation continues on the other side of the break.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we start our Friday morning with a wreck on 2059 eastbound just past exit 71. You can expect serious delays until it's cleared. If you see other conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to trade at Townsend Nissan because your car is worth more now than ever before. Go see BJ and the team at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Stephen Mesrano wins. The Mesrano law firm recently obtained a $7 million settlement for an injured client. He'll win for you 205-800-8000. 205-800-8000. Stephen Mesrano.
Come out and celebrate over 35 years of Sawyer Brown. Days on the road and I'm gonna make it home. Sawyer Brown, live in concert. Saturday, May 27th, 8 p.m. Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center. The race is on and here comes pride in the back. On sale now. Purchase tickets at pearlriverresort.com. Sawyer Brown, only at Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partially sunny today. A few scattered showers could pop up this afternoon. The high around 80. Tonight, cloudy, a good chance of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, the low 52. And tomorrow, a good supply of sunshine with a high at 71. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 56 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Go check out Alabama One, alabama1.org. Great promotions going on there with our regular branch operations, whether you're looking to get wrecked vehicle, small, commercial, and or ag equipment. We can help you there. Also, credit card, chance for you to get in on the credit card contest. You can go to alabama1.org and find out more about that. But I want to take a moment and just invite you to play and join us and support our Alabama One Aspire Foundation, where we are working to impact and raise the level of financial wellness in our communities, the communities that we serve. We have an annual golf tournament. We need sponsors and or players. If you're interested in that, go to Alabama one spelled out, foundation.org, and you can find out more information about our 2023 One Community Golf Tournament. A portion of every dollar helps support the mission of Alabama One Aspire Foundation, especially in financial wellness. The date and all the information and opportunities for you to be a part can be found once again on alabama1foundation.org. June 21st is our date. We're looking forward to having you be a part of that. By the way, we'll have some celebrity golfers out there connected with the University of Alabama, so we'd love to have you be a part. All right, X, as we were going to break there, we said we were going to have some conversation around some of the awards, the Dixie Howell Memorial Award, which is MVP, the Dwight Stevenson Award, which is voted on by media, are just a couple, but we got the Leroy Jordan Headhunter Award, Billy Neighbors Defensive Lineman Award, Paul Crane Offensive Lineman Award, Bobby Jones Defensive Back. So we'll give you some of those, and we'll name a few others. Awards out there in just a moment for you to get a chance to give us your thoughts on what we do have a couple callers, so let's get to them. Chuck, you in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
A good Friday morning to you all. Brother Houston, I like what you played coming out of break. I remember that's old school Texas rap back in the 90s in the Houston area. I remember that one. But my reason for calling is interesting. You all were just talking about the transfer portal and JUCO Yeah, you and I, you remember when JUCOs was 15, the thing about states like Mississippi and Texas and many others. And that's where the players were coming from, those JUCOs going to the Power Five institutions. And think about schools. I think about. I went to one. I didn't play sports there. It was Hines Community College in Raymond, Mississippi, out of Jackson area. They have a well-known football program. Many greats came out of that program, like Fred Smoot played at Mississippi State. Brad Banks, who's a Heisman runner-up to Carson Palmer out of University of Iowa, he's quarterback. And it just, these schools just they produce so many coming out of there. And think about Glenn Junior College, Glenn Community College in Texas. That's where Cam Newton came from. And think about what they were doing at the time. He's kind of doing transfer portal for that time. You can call it that, but now you're seeing more and more of it with the portal.
Did we lose?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Here, I was finished what I was saying. I didn't want to interrupt you all. I was finished what I was saying.
Yeah, there's definitely some excuse me, some big time players who, as you say, have come from the junior college ranks in terms of even impact here from a standpoint. And yeah, it was a pretty much a portal. That's the way the portal was played. And like I said, it kind of sets different now. People have an opinion, I think, even to this day, that junior college players are not as good as 5-star. Like people think the transfer portal provides better players. And I guess if a guy has started at some other place, then you may be getting a better player. But X, what's your thoughts on the view of JUCO versus transfer portal?
I mean, it kind of depends on the player. If you're talking about a Jahmyr Gibbs versus a guy from a junior college, then yeah, I can kind of see where your standpoint of that is. The guy that has a lot of playing time before he transfers to a bigger school or things of that nature. But I mean, as Chuck mentioned, there's been a lot of great players that have come out of JUCO. Whether it was they started at JUCO or they left a big school, went to JUCO. I mean, you played with John Copeland, Hines Community College.
Hines Community College
ends up being a top 10. Ends up being a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, we believe that Malik Benson and Justin Jefferson will be big contributors this year from the JUCO ranks. So it kind of depends on the player, because Traquan Fagans is in the portal right now. He spent a year at Alabama, but he didn't play. He didn't contribute to the team on the field. Is he as big of a name, or is he going to be able to contribute to his new team this year the way that a Malik Benson will be able to contribute at Alabama? So depending on the player is how I view JUCO versus transfer portal.
Yeah, but you say like a Jahmyr Gibbs. The only difference, let me tell you, Copeland is a JUCO player, right? Eric Curry wasn't. Well, Eric Curry chose to come to Alabama as a Prop 48. So he wasn't even eligible to play his first year, and so he just chose a different route. But he would have been a JUCO player technically had he wanted to play his first year instead of sitting out and being ruled ineligible, academically ineligible. Even though the guy had a 3.7 coming out of high school and graduated in 4 years, shows you the stupidity of college football and setting one test.
That's not even a thing anymore, is it?
I don't think so. I don't guess. I don't know.
No, it's not. Not that I know of.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thanks for that insight, Chuck. And yeah, JUCO is it's funny how I think people think JUCO means less athletic. Sometimes JUCO is based on the player not having a grade. Sometimes it's based on Some guys just mature later than others. But the perception is you're more likely to take a transfer portal guy and give them a scholarship if they're coming from a big D1 program than you are to give a JUCO player a scholarship. And that it's always interesting to me how the last couple of years that has kind of played itself out. It will be interesting to see if Saban hits a home run with his two guys, X, and if he does, then what do you all of a sudden begin to see? Might just a mature guy for 2 years, likely to stay probably, and I can get the cream of the crop. Because I'm going to tell you, I'll take a 21-year-old that has proven he can play and give me 2 years if I'm trying to build my program versus a guy that has went to another school unless he's absolute elite that didn't play. And why didn't he play if he was?
Oh, yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah.
I agree with that logic. The guy that comes from JUCO, they got 2 years on the field. They've been busting their butt because they're trying to get to the next level versus a guy that might have been a little complacent at a previous Power 5 school or, even a group of 5 D2 school. This guy wanted to be top, Power 5 in Alabama and Ohio State. So maybe their work ethic is a little bit more and a little bit harder. And so that's something that you see.
Yeah, absolutely. And Virgil Williams said JUCO, a lot of times, the 5-star players that couldn't come out high school because of grades, and some that just need to grow a little bit before coming to the college level. And I would throw in there some are like Malik Benson, who played in a non-college friendly offense, an option-based offense as a wide receiver, or a pass-based offense as a running back, or a down lineman that was part of a offense that ran a whole bunch of pass sets and pass rush because of the teams they played and never really got a chance to show that he could be a run stopper, vice versa. So it's a lot of things that go into it that could be that way. Coming back on the other side, we'll get Pat and we'll get those awards, that conversation coming up next right here on the Martin Houston Show.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. Former Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts has signed a 5-year, $255 million contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. Alabama tight end Elijah Brown has entered the transfer portal. The Alabama softball team ranked number 13 in this week's D1 softball rankings.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, good news, no active wrecks, everything moving pretty well on this Friday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to trade at Townsend Nissan because your car is worth more now than ever before. Go see BJ and the team at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
You know what happens in a plasma chamber?
Big stuff. Science stuff.
Diamonds. I'm Tom Osmond. Fincher & Osmond Jewelers carries artisan-created diamonds.
Earth and human safe.
And bigger. Lots bigger.
Fincher & Osmond diamonds from the mines or artisan-created diamonds.
They're all diamonds.
If you want to give her the big stuff, you've got to see these diamonds.
FincherandOsmond.com. A little tricky to find on McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Robert Plant and 27-time Grammy winner Alison Krauss reunite live on stage at Oak Mountain Amphitheater Saturday, April 29th with special guest J.D. McPherson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. Their brand new album Raise the Roof is available everywhere now. Produced by Red Mountain Entertainment.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Remember, Taco Casa quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Go check them out for lunch and or dinner. Talking about Taco Casa, hey, we're out there today. Check out Wilkin Formby. He'll tell you to go get the 4x4. Or Marty Lyons say you get the 2x2. It doesn't matter which one you get. Just make sure you get plenty of it. And wash it all down with that big sweet tea. Speaking of Formby, he may be one of those guys to look for on tomorrow, X.
Yeah, I mean, from the things I've seen, he's been doing really good. Has gotten a lot bigger since he left high school already, putting on about 20, 25 pounds. And is looking more and more like a Division I offensive lineman. At 6'7", 320 now, compared to the 6'7", 290 that he was in high school. So definitely a guy to watch out for among this very talented freshman offensive line group Alabama has.
I didn't get to see much of him at scrimmage, but he looked good compared to the kid I had seen play in high school. And if he stays on that trajectory, you'll see a local kid getting some reps at some point in the future. But Alabama brought in some horses. Saban said there's a couple freshmen that may see playing time. I think you may see start. He actually said may start. Two guys I would throw up as candidates for that real quick is Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor as potential guys. But there was another guy, X, that jumped to me and hadn't heard a lot about him, but Smith out of Montgomery seemed like, and it could be a moment in time, but seems like he's had quietly had a good spring. In Saban talking about he wants to see improvement in the defensive line development. So Smith could be one of those guys. But before we come in on that, let's go ahead and get Pat. Pat, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, I'm with you, Martin. I believe James Smith's going to be one to keep an eye on tomorrow if you get a chance. But it's not going to be hard to find a young man from over there, Taco Casa's newest spokesman. He's not exactly hard to spot.
Not at all.
Hey, but Martin, do you believe there's anybody going to be? Coach Saban used to process guys out when it came time to get to that number 85. Used to process folks out of medical deals and where they could figure out how to get them.
Pat, shame on you. Shame on you, Pat. Coach Saban never got a guy to take a medical I'm just kidding. Absolutely.
I'm talking about he found ways to get them an education.
You're right, Pat. That crossed my mind earlier. You're right. He did absolutely. Some of those guys that we saw take medical shirts before there was such thing as portal was all about roster management. Now the portal helps him with roster management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So I don't know if he'll have to do that or not, Pat. I guess it's really based on how many goes into the portal and whether he's put his eye on someone in the portal.
Right. Okay. He mentioned about the portal, about bringing guys in. I mean, I don't think he was just I don't think it was just rhetoric. It could have been. It could have been, but with Coach Saban, usually when he's speaking, it's meaning something. Do you not agree?
I think he was letting guys. Let me tell you, as a leader, Pat, sometimes you think that there may be people that are thinking a certain way, and they think that they have the upper hand. Okay, and you go ahead and let them know, I know what you're thinking, and just so you know, you're not secure and I could come replace you just as fast, because he went on to say we want guys who are bought in, sold out, and part of our and understand our culture, and we would like to keep those guys. But if we can go out and get someone better and make us better, we'll do that. So I think he was talking to a couple guys that may be considering getting into the portal, letting them know we're going to be okay if you leave. We're going to still be okay. You're expendable in this new world of transfer portal. I think that's the message he was sending.
Right. Okay. I agree.
Definitely agree with that.
I think he was talking to some of these guys that's on the fringe of thinking about leaving, letting them know that it can be a two-way street if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm just glad that the good Lord has changed our weather pattern for tomorrow, and it appears that it's going to be a good afternoon.
Yeah, hopefully it will be. So
perhaps we can put some butts in the seat.
Absolutely. All right, Pat. Who you got? Who you got? Who you got as the player of the game, Pat? Who's going to get that Dixie Howell Memorial Award? Jameer Gibbs got it last year.
How about somebody that we hadn't mentioned, Mr. Jefferson?
Okay. You still on the Justin Jefferson bandwagon, linebacker?
I'm just telling you, speed kills no matter what.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
All right. Have a
good
blessed
one.
day, Morty.
All right. No thought. All right, let's go ahead and start looking. Aiden, bring you in on this piece of it. Who do you have? Dixie Howell Memorial Award, the A-Day MVP. Last year, Jameer Gibbs got it. Who you think? X, you first, then you next, X.
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuels Jr., Kendrick Law. I like the way he plays. I like his build. I like his physicality. And I believe that he's going to have an opportunity to carve out a role. And I think that starts tomorrow.
Yeah. What about you, Aiden?
I'm gonna bring back the guy Pat was on about the most last year and say Isaiah Bond is really going to pop. I mean, he popped during the regular season last year, but he's going to stand out as like the go-to receiver this season.
I think I'm going to go. I don't think we're going to see what we're going to do ultimately. But I think one of the young running backs very well may get it. And so my debate is between, if it's an offensive guy, it's going to be between Miller and Haynes. And I think I'm going to lean Miller at this point. In terms of the Dixie Howell, and Curtis and I were thinking the same way. Curtis Lewis said Justice, he said Haynes. So I was trying to debate between those two guys, and so I think those two. I don't think Saban would ever start. You remember how even though he was never the starter, and but he ended up being the man and being drafted overall, even though he never started. So I think we're going to end up seeing some of that from these young guys in terms of what they're able to do. Even though they may not start this year, don't be surprised if they're not our best running back. Any thoughts on that, X?
Oh no, I mean I can definitely see the comparisons with Jam and Justice to a Mark Ingram or a Josh Jacobs, which is two really good comparisons, and that might be the comp for those two. I think Jam is a little bit more Ingram, and Justice has the opportunity to be a little bit more Jacobs.
Yep.
And those are two really good running backs to be compared to.
And like I said, I don't think that they'll start necessarily this year, but I think you'll see them play big time. Um, the next the Leroy Jordan Headhunter Award last year, Brian Branch and Seth McLaughlin got that award. Who do you think gets it this year?
Defensively, I'm going to go Caleb Downs. Man, just everything I've heard about him, the way he's been flying all over the field and making plays, he's not afraid of contact. So I'll go Caleb Downs defensively. Offensively, I'll say we get a repeat performance from Seth McLaughlin, just like his nastiness. And if not McLaughlin, maybe Tyler Booker. I like his physicality and the way he plays as well.
Yeah, offensive. Aiden, I'll let you go.
If I got to pick a guy on the defensive side of the ball, I would tend to agree with X, but for the sake of being different, I want to see a big game from Malachi Moore. I feel like it's finally time to see that from him. Not like he's not capable or like I'm disappointed in him. I want him to have his moment because he's been doing it the right way for so many years.
And he appears to have gotten a little bigger, Aiden. So it'll be interesting to see how that serves him in that star safety role. I'm going to get a guy. He'll either be the headhunter or the defensive lineman, and that's Tim Smith. I think he's gonna be able to do some damage. I think I'm going out on a limb. DC and I were talking offline and think he could have a Quinnen Williams type breakout season. So it'd be great to see that start on Saturday. Let's go to break. Come back on the other side. We'll run through a couple of more awards, and then we will pick who we think is going to be the breakout player. I don't know if they necessarily have that award, but we'll pick that one as well. More of that conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, good news, no active wrecks, everything moving pretty well on this Friday morning. Now, if you do see conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. Now's the time to trade at Townsend Nissan because your car is worth more now than ever before. Go see BJ and the team at Townsend Nissan. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. There is a marginal 1 in 5 risk for severe weather in extreme West Alabama from western Pickens County southward, including the northwest quarter of Greene County and all of Sumter County today and tonight. The main threat is for damaging winds, but the whole system should be out of here in time for A-Day tomorrow afternoon and the Talladega race. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is here to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOL, ETA, and Federal WIOA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing LLC.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
The Alabama One Aspire Foundation is offering free American Red Cross, first aid, and CPR training classes to the West Alabama community. The plan is to have at least 60 people certified by year end. All instructors are American Red Cross staff, and all materials are provided. Lunch will also be provided. Please join us as we learn to save a life, one compression at a time. Get details at alabama1foundation.org/CPR. The Tuscaloosa Mayor's Cup 5K for pre-K will be April 29th at 8 a.m. in downtown Tuscaloosa. For more information or to register, go to TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com. That's www.TuscaloosaMayorsCup.com.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. As on Tide 100.9, the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, live local Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. on your radio dial at Tide 100.9 and on live stream at Martin Houston 35 and XNO Sports. Curtis said that he's taking Kool-Aid as the Head Hunter award. Now there's a special award that is I'm kind of part and partial to because I got it, but the Sylvester Croom Commitment to Excellence Award. Last year you had Jordan Battle, DJ Dale, Malachi Moore, Will Reichert. We may get to that one and may not, but Paul Crane Offensive Lineman Award. Last year, J.C. Latham, Kendall Randolph got that. Who you got this year?
I will go to be different from last year. I'll go Caden Proctor and no, I'll just stick with Caden Proctor. I think Caden Proctor in there might be a second.
I think Booker. To me, Booker is the one guy. Not saying J.C. Latham couldn't. Not saying Proctor couldn't. I love Elijah Pritchett. I mean, he looks the part. Other than one time where it looked like he was kind of slow getting off the line, but that may have been more about Robinson's speed than Pritchett's lack of speed. But Booker is old school nasty. I'm gonna go ahead and say the kid last year was one of our best offensive linemen. Probably should have been starting, and someone else should have been subbing for him. And I haven't seen or heard anything that said he hasn't improved. So, so that is a huge guy that I have for that offensive lineman. Other guys, potentially, I think Pritchett could be in there, and I think Latham could be there. A dark horse is Ferguson. As a guy who's getting some reps, who plays in kind of a nasty way. And what's number 54's name? I'm so good with numbers and
Miles McVay.
Miles McVay has had a couple of jump out plays, so it's a lot of good offensive linemen, and I think Wolford has them playing butt down, head up, driving people off. Defensive back, the Bobby Jones Defensive Back Award last year, Kool-Aid McKinstry, DeMarco Helms. Who you got?
You know what? I believe he's going to be much improved this year from last year. So I'm going to go Terrion Arnold and Earl Little Jr.
All right. What about you, Aiden?
I'm with X. I hope it's Terrion Arnold. So I'm going to say Terrion Arnold.
Yeah.
I need Terrion Arnold to be improved from last year because we're losing this depth at the cornerback spot.
Yeah, I would say, you know, I like looking for guys who may pop that you're not expecting. Story is a guy who was in some of that rotation, right? X, when we were out there in the 5-6 deep. So he's a guy that could get there. Caleb Downs is an easy name to throw because he's done so well. A dark horse, possibly. What were your takeaway from Jake Pope, X?
Man, he's a very fluid athlete, and can move very well in space. So yeah, he's definitely a potential dark horse.
And I think we've already hit this guy potentially. This one, Johnny Musso Offensive Back Award. I think we kind of feel like it may be one of the young guys. But if you have a different thought, throw that out there.
No, in my opinion, from what I saw this past Saturday, it's definitely going to, in my opinion, either be Jam or Justice. But but that's just because that's what we've seen a lot of and heard a lot about. But it definitely could be Jace or Roydale as well.
Really quick, receiver, Ray Perkins Receiver Award.
Malik Benson or Kendrick Law.
Woodrow Lowe Linebacker Award.
I'm going Jahad Campbell. I think he's stepping up big time.
Jahad Campbell is a good option. Marshall has shown flashes. Don't be surprised if Quindarius Robinson doesn't flash tomorrow at linebacker. And then from wide receiver, Benson is a candidate. But I might even throw one of the tight ends in as an option for the receiver award. So look for that as a possibility. And if it's not
Danny Lewis.
David Lewis, you said? Danny Lewis. And then the other option for me would be Law. I love the way the young man is built, and I think you get a great example, Deebo Samuels. Hey, the Crimson Tide will win tomorrow. I have no idea who's on which team, which side, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys will get to go out and see it in its entirety. I may have a couple things that prevents me from being there. If I'm not there, I'm going to need all of you to keep your notebooks out and your cameras ready for highlights. We'll be back on Monday to talk about and break down the game right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Hey, that's Xavier. That's Aiden Dollins. I'm Martin Houston. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And hey, maybe he'll direct your paths to Harvest Church, hctuscaloosa.com. Harvest Church out in Coca, right off of McFarland, Highway 82, going toward Mississippi. We love to have you. Services start at 10 a.m., Sunday school at 9. Come by and see us at Harvest Church. We're loving God and loving people, and we'd love to love on you a little bit. Hey, for the Martin Houston Show, we say roll tide out there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.